go right out to the 610 hotline. Welcome in our guy, Josh Klingler, of course, host of Fesco in the morning. You'll hear him tomorrow starting at 6 a.m. and then at Arrowhead Stadium, Saturday night, 7 o'clock, and prior to that, over on 106.5 The Wolf as well. Kling, I know we always ask you about winter weather or just conditions on the sideline. I know this is going to be the coldest game you've been on the sideline for, though, right? Ever?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I don't know why it's different, but it totally is. Like, if I was sidling up and buying a ticket, going out there, I'd be, like, super excited. I don't know what it is. He's like, I have to be on the sidelines. It's so cold. But if I was going to the game, I'd be like, all right, it's going to be cold. Bundle up. So, I don't know. It just makes me, I don't know. It's turned me soft, I guess, like, not if you're kind of not going as a fan and quote unquote working, I feel like, man, it's going to be cold.
Yeah, it's a different level too. Like, we've all been at football games where it's like maybe 5 degrees or 10. I mean, it might be 0 and the wind chill is going to be like negative 15. Yeah. It's a completely different animal.
Everybody just do whatever you can to bundle up, because it's going to be no joke coming up on Saturday. I wish there was a way to avoid it too. Like, there's just the whole weekend looks terrible. You know what I mean? So it's not like, oh well, there'll be warmth on the other side. No, it just looks like we're in for a kind of a deep freeze right now. It feels like, wait, this isn't Buffalo. This is Kansas City. We're not supposed to get this, but yeah, no, it's gonna be tremendously cold. I'm thinking about that ice game a few years ago. That was before I was on the network side, but we had that
Steelers game.
Was it Steelers? Yeah, Steelers game where they moved everything. Ooh. That was cold. There was I think there was a Colts game at one point too. I remember kind of trekking out there one day, and it's like, man, it is frigid. But this may top all of those.
Kling, what's the Chiefs sideline drinking policy? Could you just take a couple of nips here or there?
Oh, I don't know. I suppose, but yeah.
A little liquid warmth, Have you considered that?
He's got a flask of J. Rieger whiskey he's just sipping on a few times throughout the game.
I'm sure we could find if you scoured like Amazon, you could probably find one that looks like a microphone, right? Like
a
microphone flask, almost assuredly.
Kling, why do you have two microphones this game on the sideline?
Well, it's really cold.
It's cold. The batteries might act up on one of them. I just wanted to be prepared.
True.
Well, that's something that you could do. How confident are you in this game? I'm weirdly very confident, which I know kind of scares me a little bit, but I'm really confident.
I know. Yeah, I am too, and it's kind of progressing as the week has gone on. I think, I think the weather factors in. I think this is not a cold weather team. I've been leery of their defense away from Miami for pretty much the better part of 2 seasons, and they're so beat up in the front 7. Like, you got to take advantage of what they have defensively if you're the Chiefs offense, and so when that line of scrimmage, a lot of their skill guys are at least somewhat nicked up. I'm confident the Chiefs defense can shut down the pass game. I'm really confident against anybody in the pass game with this Chiefs defense. And then if you can control the run game, which is easier said than done, it's a very good rushing team as well. Mostert and Achane give me a little pause. But from a passing standpoint, I'm like, it'll be fine. Like, you're going to doubt L'Jarius Sneed at this point, like locking somebody down, Tyreek Hill down, whoever? Not really. So I just feel like I feel like this one is in the right place at the right time. It seems that they're maybe a little bit tired and a little bit beat up, and what's their emotional level coming off, losing the division and seeing themselves having to go play on the road. I think this just factors in really, really well to the Chiefs, who are, well rested coming off of last week.
The Chiefs have continued to talk about it. Nagy was talking today about their focus during that week when they were off is again trying to find more big plays where they may or may not exist, and then they used McCole Hardman a lot. Look, I've heard the Chiefs a lot of times be like, we're close. I've let that ship sail. Is there some secret hidden deep play or deep pass offense they can find in the postseason?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think they are what they are. It's just don't make the mistakes. I think that's what you got to play with. This is going to be a team that should, let Isaiah Pacheco dictate a little bit of what you're doing. That could set up a lot of different things you want to get in the passing game. Yes, can McCole Hardman bring you a little different dynamic? I think that's why they, got him extra reps last week. I hated to see him drop a couple passes because I'm like, oh my goodness, fall in line with the rest of this group. But, I don't think there's any magic formula. To me, it's just, and we've also all been banging the table for this, right? For weeks and weeks and weeks, play clean football. I just think it's as simple as that. Easier said than done, and clearly they haven't done it at all times. But, it's just focus. It's focus and details and do those things because they're plenty talented enough. And I think, the downfield, there are downfield opportunities. We saw it with Rashee Rice a couple weeks ago. Certainly they're going to try to stretch the field on some occasions. But also, I would go ahead and lean on Isaiah Pacheco. He looked like he was tremendously ready to go a couple weeks ago before they gave him the week off last week. So use that in the postseason too. Like I think be a little more observant of what you really are versus what you were trying to get to.
You mentioned the focus part of it. Like the other day against Cincinnati, and I know it was Jake Browning, but the way that team was talking, the way the Chiefs responded made me think, Kling, that they finally were motivated to beat a team, and I thought they controlled that game as much as any game this year, honestly, where they were in charge of both lines of scrimmage, they were in charge offensively and defensively. Is there a part that is just we haven't been paying as much attention because the offense has struggled, that they have been just still playing with their food and that the playoffs brings out a different energy version of the Chiefs because they know that they can turn it back on?
You hope not, but reality might be that. I don't know. If you learned anything from the regular season, I think if you're the Chiefs, is that the margins you lived on in the past few years just aren't there for you this year. This team has turned the football over before. This team has been a penalty saddled team before, but they were, we all saw them score enough that it's like, oh, whatever. So you turned it over. You'll just get that back the next time. If they've learned anything, that's not that easy for this particular team. I don't think you flip the switch, though, either. I think the defense has been doing their thing all season long. I think the offense came out of that one feeling really good. And the locker room was I saw them having fun and laughing after that Cincinnati game. And I don't think it was just because they clinched the AFC West. I think it was a part of it. I think it was the way that they had played well in a game against a team that they had a lot of respect for and that obviously had a ton to play for in that game. And I think it was kind of therapeutic in a way. I saw a different kind of relaxed group after that game. And so hopefully that carries over. And then, I think you do lean on some experience as well. You've been in these situations before. A lot of these other teams have not. And so I think that they do have that advantage going for them as well. It's a very experienced bunch that's, it's three primary leaders especially can tell you everything you want to know about making runs through the postseason. And you can hopefully lean on that a little bit as well. But no magic button necessarily, but I think that the urgency is here, and they played enough close games this year and have some kind of shocking, head-scratching moment games that they ought to be very, very aware that this is no time to mess around.
Kling, I know the Chiefs got to handle Miami first on Saturday, but if we do look ahead for a second, the rest of the path for the Chiefs, and I know seeding doesn't always hold true, but if it does, you're talking about at Buffalo, you're talking about at Baltimore on your way to a Super Bowl. We were discussing this, I think, yesterday, that like on NFC side or AFC side, nobody has a tougher path.
No, and this is the toughest path the Chiefs have had in their, in the Mahomes postseason runs for sure. I mean, teams and locations, right? We know that they played at home, but I think the toughest path in 3 games, right? I think this is the toughest opening game that they face. As confident as I am, and confident as you are, Alex, I feel like this is the toughest opening game on paper that they've had, and certainly going to Buffalo, and we know the history of that series, and them finally getting a home game in that regard would be big, and then Baltimore, who's probably got the most pressure in the playoffs. I think the Chiefs are under the least amount of pressure in this go round, but I think that their road is the toughest, if that makes any sense. Like from a pressure standpoint, Baltimore's under serious heat. You got to show that you could do something in the playoffs. Buffalo is largely underachieved when it's come to the postseason. They got to win a couple games and probably beat the Chiefs to kind of slay the dragon, as it were. And then the Dolphins, who were as cocky and chatty and loved by the universal NFL universe. They got to back things up in the postseason too. So I think there's a lot less pressure maybe on the Chiefs in this regard. But no doubt about it, guys. I'm with you. This is the toughest road they have faced under Mahomes.
Josh Klingler, Chiefs Sideline Reporter. Stay warm on Saturday. We'll be listening tomorrow morning.
I'm trying to get in the right mindset. I'm channeling back to actually old Herm Edwards. Herm used to dress in like shorts and like a long sleeve T-shirt like every day of the year. It didn't matter if it was cold or if it was warm. It didn't matter. He just probably so. Where you you just go with it. And you pretend like it doesn't bother you. I'm firmly in denial right now. It's really what
I hear
it is.
you.
Like,
All
I'm
right.
just going to pretend like it's the tropics for a couple of days and store up some heat.
There you go.